Megalopolis, a movie that's harder to understand than it is to say, if you can believe it. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 reasons why Megalopolis failed.
Who doesn't prefer girls? Who doesn't prefer girls?
But I will outlive you. Wow, you Wall Street slut.
So go back to the club.
I think maybe alligators have the right idea.
What's that?
They eat their young.
Stick around to find out. Did we hate it?
Did we? Let's get into it. Oh, my kidneys.
The first reason why this movie kind of lackluster.
The production. The behind the scenes is way more interesting than the actual movie, if you ask me.
To the same Francis, the same Mr. Coppola that gave us The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Dracula. That same 85-year-old
Grandpa of a man.
Yeah, great-grandpa.
Great-grandpappy. He wanted to make this movie for literally decades, since the 1980s. And so he went to studios, and they were like,
No.
nah, dog. It's a no for me, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he put up $120 million of his own money.
Yeah, selling off like a lot of his property, like his wine.
His wine company and vineyards and stuff. Yeah, did it turn out well? Well, let me ask you this. Did you see it? Probably not.
He had a really stacked cast for it. Like Shia LaBeouf,
Yeah.
Adam Driver,
Lawrence Fishburne, Aubrey Plaza.
yeah, that
Dustin
one-
Hoffman's in there for some reason.
John Voight.
John Voight is in there.
Our boy, John Voight.
Our boy Voight.
Yeah. We wanted to get him for a short film.
That's true. He was busy filming this. Well, I don't know. He was definitely busy. I'll say that.
In the movie, you'll see
He was
he was very
he
busy.
was very busy in this movie. The production was plagued with issues, budget issues, reshoots.
Yeah, a lot of disagreements from the actors themselves.
Yeah, and it just a mess to begin with.
Moving on to our second point, with all that, what was the story that this was all like built upon? What was the plot?
Let me look for the plot here. No, there isn't a plot. You don't look for it. It's not there.
To surmise it the best I can,
Good luck.
Adam Driver, who's Caesar,
Yes.
he has the ability to stop time, but mostly he's just an architect.
Yes, and it's modern day, but it's also the 20s. And it's Rome, but it's also America.
They have Coliseum fights instead of sports games.
Yeah, and to be fair, some of them are kind of sick. The whole plot kind of revolves around Caesar wanting to make this utopia, and he's going against the mayor, which is Gus the Chicken Man. He's also in love with his daughter.
Yeah,
because
Gus's
they talked
daughter.
once.
Yeah, and he insulted her saying, "Go back to the club."
In the club.
One of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
So go back to the club.
There are some great lines in this movie.
Like when she's like, "I'm entitled."
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitled.
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitled. It's like, if you say that one more time.
My favorite line. So Shia LaBeouf is in this movie. God bless that man. And he is dressed up as a woman at one point.
A little too convincing it sometimes.
Yeah, like maybe he has a little practice, a little too much. So he is trying to get revenge on Caesar, who's his cousin.
Yeah.
And we don't know why. And if you're waiting for the movie to explain to you why, stop, because they don't.
If you're waiting for this movie to explain anything to you,
Just stop.
No.
Stop right. Yeah. He takes revenge on his cousin by framing him. I don't even know if he can say it on the podcast.
we'll use a clip from Transformers 1.
Yeah.
Miners!
Yeah.
Miners!
And yeah, so that's a subplot going on. And then we get the best line in the movie.
Revenge tastes best while wearing a dress.
His character arc is interesting because later on he becomes Trump.
He has no boundaries, and that's how you get into politics. That makes a political leader.
And Che Guevara.
Yeah,
and,
who I guess are the same people.
And like in general, like he's for the people, but at the same time he's using them.
Yeah, he's using the people to come against Caesar, who, is he even in power or is he just like an architect?
He's an architect, but somehow he has the power to just blow up blocks without
Yeah.
permission or notice somehow.
Yeah, because his whole thing is he's going for utopia, right?
Yeah.
So
We forgot about this. He wants to build the new Rome out of Megalopolis, which is this new building material that is
like probably nuclear.
we don't know exactly what Megalopolis is or how it makes buildings, but
yeah, and they don't explain, so don't worry about that. But it is somehow flower shape in structure. It had potential with the dynamic of a guy that strives for utopia, and then a realist like Gus the Chicken Man who knows that you can't get utopia. Seeing that dynamic could have been fun. But the movie, the entire time, you're supposed to root for Adam Driver, even when he's tripping massive balls. I don't know if I can say that. I might bleep that out.
He's doing mega crackulus at the party.
He's doing a lot of crackulus at the carnival or circus or Coliseum, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And another problem with this movie is you don't know what's real and what's supposed to be surreal or what's supposed to be like real in the world. So when he's tripping, so are you.
Yeah.
So is everyone in the world. Like,
nobody knows what's going on.
No
at
one
any
knows
point.
what's going on. Yeah, literally. Except for John Voight. He knows.
He knows a little too much.
Maybe a little too much. Every character is not a real character. It is funny. I'll say Shia LaBeouf is hilarious in this movie.
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza's also in this movie.
She's just weird, creepy.
This is probably the one thing where I actually really dislike her.
Yeah.
She's annoying.
I get her character is supposed to be bad and evil, but like it just feels icky.
Yeah, and there is no arc, you know. She's just like sleeping with the whole family. And also everyone's kind of related, like all the rich people. They don't explain.
It's a metaphor
For
nepotism.
Nepotism. That's the best we got anyway.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I think it's all supposed to be oddly metaphorical. Like there's this one scene where Julia, who's married to Caesar, metaphor, walks in on her dad, and he's like buried in the sand for like one shot, and then he's like just has a lot of paperwork on his desk, and the next shot, like, it's a metaphor for him being buried in his work.
Yeah, but it's like it's not real surrealism. It's just like surrealism, so it doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, is there a deeper meaning in what's going? I don't think so. No.
Mr. Francis wants there to be a deeper meaning, but
yeah, I think he just had a lot of ideas, and probably the people around him encouraged him. Oh, just put it in there, because at one point when Shia LaBeouf becomes Trump, there's MAGA hats.
MAGA hats.
But why? And they say make New Rome great again, which I do want that hat. I don't want to get like hounded in public, but I do want to wear that hat. He threw everything that was in his little head and his little heart.
This movie just kind of feels like old man screaming at clouds. Like, yeah. Francis has a message he wants to say. He just doesn't know what that message is or who he wants to say it to.
Deep down in that noggin of his, he just didn't dig deep enough, apparently. And that brings us to reason number 3 that Megalopolis failed. The execution. Yeah, which is what I was hoping for halfway through the movie, was to be executed. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube.
Nice to meet you too.
As you can tell by how we attempted to describe the plot, it's just very messy.
Yeah, and it's so unfocused, and so is every aspect, from the visual effects to the performances
to the acting. In an interview where Mr. Coppola's trying to defend acting, he's like, it's just in a different key.
It's in a different key. That's very important.
Maybe you should try tuning that key. I don't. Yeah. It's a little flat, dog, you know? I wonder what, like, they were told their characters were, like Adam Driver. When he's tripping the major crackulus, what is his character experiencing there? That's what I would like to know. Besides crack. I mean, he's literally just on crack.
Yeah, and like the entire sort of love story that kind of goes throughout with Julia and Caesar, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. It starts with him insulting her, then they work together, then they fall in love. Yeah. And that whole thing with the father's like, if you marry that man, you're not in the family anymore.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Oh my gosh, and then at one point a 12-year-old shoots him in the face.
Yeah.
We forgot about that.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you too.
That's a highlight. That kind of goes back to the plot, but in the execution, talking about that point, a 12-year-old shoots him in the face, assumingly because Shia LaBeouf told him to do that. Maybe he was going to pay him. I don't know how that worked out. I'd like to see that deep cut, though, the director's cut where it adds that scene in. But shoots him in the face, And what helps Adam Driver get his face back?
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
He uses it, so it's a building material
For faces and homes.
Yeah.
Multi-purpose. Multi-purpose.
Yeah, and like, do you think he has like a cool scar from getting shot in the face?
Literally shot with like a 50 cal because he has a massive hole in his face that was not there before.
And he has a giant chasm in his face from when this bullet wrecked him for like 2 scenes, and he's just perfectly fine for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and you might be wondering, well, surely they do something character-wise with that. No, I don't do anything. I don't know why that happened. That's kind of late in the movie too. So
Yeah.
he's being kind of successful. It's like right after the satellite hit, and he's like building the flower house, the start of what Megalopolis is supposed to be. Then he gets shot in the face, and then he just continues to be successful in it.
Yeah, I thought at that point in the movie, because it was so late in, I thought they were gonna do something ballsy and be like, oh, he died, and the rest of the movie's gonna deal with like the repercussions of that, but no.
No. And so the entire execution of the movie, what could have been a cool idea, the idea of like doing a new Rome, but like in modern times, I think is interesting. But the way that he brought it to life is just more confusing than anything.
Did we hate it?
Did we hate Megalopolis? Let me tell you.
It mega suckless.
Yeah, it sucked a pretty hard to listen. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's a good bad movie. We enjoyed it because we were yelling at the screen.
Yeah, and it felt like we were on Mega Crackless too.
Honestly, it is a trip because you're in a different state of mind. Not a good one. That's certainly not a good one. But I do think if you go into this with 3, 4, 5 of your best buddies and maybe a little Mega Crackless, then you'll probably enjoy a list. Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
So, subscribe down below and tell us what you think in the comments.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.